Most men believe that if a woman isn't saying anything, then everything must be fine. But here's a powerful truth from female psychology. When a woman is silent, she's often feeling more than ever before. This is the story of Armand and Sarah, and hidden inside it is a truth most men understand far too late. Armand was a simple, focused, ambitious man. His life followed a routine: work, gym, goals. He didn't overthink emotions. He believed consistency and effort were enough. When Sarah entered his life, everything felt natural. They talked, laughed, spent time together. Sarah often listened quietly while Armand spoke. She wasn't loud, dramatic, or demanding. Armand assumed her silence meant boredom. But in reality, Sarah wasn't judging his words. She was feeling his energy. And this is where the first fact of female psychology begins. Women feel first and understand later. When Armand was excited, he talked a lot. When he felt insecure, he explained too much. But when he was calm, grounded, and emotionally steady, Sarah felt closer to him. She never said this directly, but her behavior changed. Her replies became softer, her eye contact deeper, her presence felt stronger. Then something shifted. One day, Armand noticed Sarah wasn't talking like before. Her messages became shorter. On calls, she stayed quiet. Armand panicked. His mind went into overdrive. "What happened? Are you okay? Did I do something wrong?" This is where most men make the mistake. Here's the second fact of female psychology. When a woman feels emotional pressure, she pulls back, not to explain, but to process. Sarah wasn't confused. She was observing. She was watching how Armand handled uncertainty, how he reacted to silence, how stable he was when things didn't feel perfect. The more Armand chased answers, the more he explained himself, the quieter Sarah became. Then, one day, Armand did something different. He stopped fighting the silence. He respected the space. He returned his focus to his own life. Gym, work, routine, no drama, no emotional begging. And this leads to the third fact of female psychology. Women aren't attracted to noise, they're attracted to calm. A few days later, Sarah messaged him first. Her tone was different, warmer, more open. Why? Because Armand had shown something powerful without saying a word, that his emotional state didn't depend on her reactions. Sarah never said, "You seem strong," but her interest had returned. This brings us to the fourth and most important female psychology truth. Women don't bond through words, they bond through emotional presence. Armand learned that not every silence needs a response. Sometimes the strongest response is self-control. When he stayed calm, when he stayed grounded, when he stopped seeking validation, Sarah felt his presence again. And once a woman feels something deeply, she doesn't need explanations. The deepest lesson of this story is simple but uncomfortable. A woman doesn't want what you say, she wants who you are. Your emotional stability, your boundaries, the weight of your silence. If you fear her silence, you already lose yourself. But if you stand firm in your life, your purpose, and your calm, you become naturally attractive. This isn't a game, this isn't manipulation. This is female psychology, the truth most men learn too late. After Armand stopped chasing the silence, something subtle but powerful happened inside him first. For the first time, he wasn't reacting to Sarah's behavior, he was observing himself. He noticed how quickly his peace used to depend on her replies, her tone, her attention, and that realization was uncomfortable, but it was also freeing. This is where another powerful female psychology fact comes into play. Women sense emotional shifts before men understand them. Sarah noticed the change before Armand ever said a word. He wasn't colder, he wasn't distant, he was simply steady. His messages were fewer but warmer, his voice calmer, No hidden anxiety, no pressure, no silent demand for reassurance. And this confused Sarah, not in a negative way, but in a reflective one. Before, Armand's attention felt loud. Now his presence felt quiet, but strong. Female psychology works like this. When a woman feels that a man's emotional center is stable, she begins to feel safe exploring her own emotions again. Silence no longer feels like distance, it feels like space. One evening, Sarah finally broke the silence, not with explanations, not with drama, but with something simple. "I like how calm you've been lately." Armand didn't rush to respond. He didn't explain his growth. He didn't seek validation. He simply smiled and said, "I've just been focusing on my life." That sentence carried more weight than all his past explanations combined. This reveals another rarely discussed truth. Women don't fall for effort. They fall for emotional self-sufficiency. Sarah began opening up, not because Armand asked her to, but because she felt she could. She talked about her fears, her confusion, the emotional noise she hadn't known how to explain earlier, and Armand listened, not to fix, not to convince, but to understand. That's when the dynamic shifted. Before, Armand wanted clarity. Now he had presence, and presence changed everything. Female psychology teaches us that attraction isn't created by control or words. It's created by how a man holds himself when things are uncertain. When Armand stopped needing outcomes, Sarah began leaning in emotionally, not because she was afraid to lose him, but because she felt him fully. This is the paradox most men miss. The moment you stop trying to be understood is often the moment you finally are. Armand learned that silence isn't an enemy, it's a mirror. If silence makes you anxious, it reveals dependence. If silence keeps you calm, it reveals strength, and women feel that difference instantly. Sarah never said, "You changed and now I'm more attracted to you." She didn't need to. Her actions said it for her. Because in female psychology, what's felt always speaks louder than what's said. A woman doesn't connect to how much you explain. She connects to how grounded you remain when nothing is explained. Silence doesn't push women away. Emotional instability does. If this continuation resonated with you, stay with the channel, because understanding female psychology isn't about learning tricks, it's about mastering yourself, and the men who do that never need to chase attention again. If you want to understand more real truths about female psychology, attraction, and emotional mastery, make sure to subscribe to the channel, because the truths that change your life are rarely loud. They're quiet, calm, and powerful.